Welcome to another thing about tartan, and this week is all about oatcakes. So as part of our Burns Night special for January, and we've been looking at all the different components of the Burns Night evening, and oatcakes are a very important part of the Scottish diet. So they've been a staple of the Scottish diet since at least Roman times and probably long before. And in the 14th century, Scottish soldiers carried with them a sack of oatmeal and a griddle. Moistened oats were then formed into a cake and cooked over a fire. So we decided to find out a bit more about the background to the humble oatcake, and who better to chat to than Nairns in Edinburgh.
So Nairn's name comes from husband and wife duo Sarah and John Nairn, who first started baking their Nairn's oatcakes in Straven, Lanarkshire in 1896. The bakery later moved to Edinburgh and their range has expanded considerably since those days, but so many of the principles of what they still do are now true to John and Sarah's legacy.
So based here down in the Scottish borders near Duns, we're actually based on a farm, an arable farm, and my husband is the farmer here. So we were delighted to discover that Nairns source most of their whole grain oats from the Scottish borders. And farmers like my husband have been growing oats here for generations. The oats are then milled by John Hogarth of Kelso, who must be good at what they do as they've been millers of the finest Scottish oatmeal for over 100 years. And the texture of your oatcake depends very much on the milling process and how the oats are ground, producing a fine or a rough texture, and we're going to taste a couple of different variations later on. Personally, I really love the rougher texture, and that means that the milling it hasn't been refined and processed to quite such a high degree, and that also means that the oat will keep its germ and its bran outer coating where all the goodness is found, and that's what Nairns are also renowned for. Once the oats have been milled, they're taken to the bakeries at Peffer Mill in Edinburgh, where all these yummy biscuits and oatcakes have been produced since 1935. And if you've purchased one of our Burns boxes this January, you'll also find some delicious Nairns oatcakes in there to try for yourself. And today we're going to do the oatcake taste test. We're going to try out some of the more modern flavours that they've brought in.
So today we're going to be trying 4 different flavours of the Nairns oatcakes. So in the red box here we've got the cheese and smoky chipotle, and then the green box is just the original Nairns oatcakes. The orange box is peri peri, so a little bit of a kick in that one, and then the last box on the end is rye and quinoa.
So we all have our favourite ways of how we like to eat our Scottish oatcakes. One of mine that I've just discovered came from Scottish chef Mark Greenaway, and you can make the whole haggis, neeps and tatties all on your oatcake. So if you pop over onto our website, there's a blog there which gives you the recipe, but basically you have a little bit of haggis and some neeps and tatties all on your one oatcake, and that's a lovely thing to serve as a canapé, or if you don't want a whole plate of haggis. And Adam, you've brought along a few of your favourite ingredients
Yes,
for
I
your toppings for your
have.
oatcakes.
As you can see here, we have a range of cheese on our cheese boards here. But you can have a mix of cheeses with whatever oatcakes you'd like. We have some smoky cheeses available, which might work better with the more plain oatcakes. Whereas if you want a creamier cheese for your topping, it might work well with, say, the peri peri, and you get a lot of delicious flavours throughout.
And I love a bit of pickle with my cheese, so that's a lovely option to have. Or in our staff gifts at Christmas time, we receive some chilli jam, and we have a lovely one here from Galloway Lodge down in Dumfries and Galloway, which is very nice. A nice slab of cheddar on the rye and quinoa oatcake and a bit of chilli jam on the top is delicious. Of course, some people love to just have a slab of butter on their oatcake, and that is also very tasty. We've also experimented with some herby cheese, which is delicious on a plain oatcake or the peri peri one, and or cream cheese and smoked salmon. Again, you want a plainer oatcake for that, so I would go rye and quinoa for that one, give you a nice crunch, nice texture. And last of all, Emily made us a delicious smoked salmon and cream cheese dip, which we spread onto the organic oatcake, and that was delicious. So I've chosen my favourites, and I do love the rye and quinoa oatcake. To be honest, just on its own it's delicious because it's got really good texture and crunch. So I have popped a little bit of herby cheese onto this one to have with it. So nice. You get the creaminess of the cheese and then the crunch of the oatcake. Very good, definitely my favourite. Which one have you chosen, Amy?
I've went for the cheese and smoky chipotle, and I've also put some smoky cheese on it as well because I do like a bit of cheese, so just
Double
went
cheese.
overboard with the cheese. Yeah, so I'll try this. Yeah, that one's really good. I like that one a lot. It's got a little bit of a kick to it as well, which I like. So
A little bit
that one's nice.
spicy.
Yeah.
Adam?
Good. I have went for the plain oatcake, but to add a bit of flavour to mine, I've went for some chili jam, which has been highly recommended. So I will give it a taste. Very good. I would certainly recommend the chili jam, and the cheddar gives it a lovely flavour on top as well. So yeah, I think 3 very good choices.
So I was intrigued by the peri peri one, and I expected it to be really, really spicy, but actually it's got just quite a subtle kick, hasn't it? Which you don't get till just after you've eaten. So I popped some of Emily's lovely cheese, cream cheese and smoked salmon on top of that one, just to see how those tastes went together. Really good. The creaminess goes really well with the spice of the peri peri. Like you can really just taste that kick just at the end. Really good. So what do we think then? What's our favourite?
I'm definitely gonna have to go for the cheese and smoky chipotle. It was really good. I like something a little bit different in an oatcake. A little bit different from usual. Yeah.
Good.
Adam?
I will stick to the plain crackers, and I like to add a bit of flavour with my toppings, so that's what I'll stick with.
And I'm going to go for the Ryan quinoa. That's definitely my favourite because I think I could just dip that in my soup or have it on its own as well as adding whatever I fancy to it. So a big thank you to Nairns for sending us the samples for us to taste today. And also if you want to have your very own box of Nairns oatcakes, you can buy them in most big supermarkets or Whole Foods and health food shops. They're also available in the States in selected stores, and you can have a look on their website and they tell you exactly where you can get them. We also have the Nairns oatcakes in our Burns Night boxes, which are still available for dispatch ready for your Burns Night celebrations.